I don't know. I'll do a welcome right now.
Yeah, yeah, anybody could, right?
That's right. I don't remember.
Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Central
Thank you.
Nassau, also known as Pumpkin Church, sometimes. My name is John Rolicky, formerly of our board. Very happy to welcome everyone here this morning. Our Reverend Patron Thomas is leading today's service, and we're all looking forward to that. It's wonderful to be here, and I feel a real joy at the closing of our pumpkin patch, and it's a nice moment. It's a big annual moment in the life of our congregation. I want everyone to know that this is a welcoming congregation. We're here to support one another on our spiritual journey, to encourage one another to do the difficult work, seeking meaning, acting for justice, and living with integrity. And I know we have a new staff member on religious education today. We'd love to welcome. Sir, I haven't even met you yet. I'm John Rolicky. You want to come up here and say hello?
Hi.
So your name is Alan? John,
Hi, John.
welcome to UUCCN.
Thank you.
Do you want to tell us something for a moment about yourself?
Reverend Fenton.
Yes. You already got a plan. Even better. Here we go. So let's welcome Mr. Alan Gregg. Okay. Born in General Santos City, Philippines, second among 4 children, but the youngest is the only girl who lives in Florida. He studied briefly in seminary and graduated in maritime studies. He went on to work international vessels, cargoes, and cruise ships. He's happily married with 4 sons. That is a lot of boys. He's semi-retired from sailing to raise his family, and he was teaching in maritime training centers. He's engaged in environmental advocacy in the Philippines before coming to the United States. Alan has served as an adjunct professor and studied theology at St. Joseph's Seminary and College. Alan, or Mr. Alan, as the children will call him, has expressed a strong understanding of pluralism and knowledge of world religions. We are grateful to have him join our community as a new religious education teacher. Welcome. We want to say a big thank you to Adam Marzak for his work covering Adam's cleaning up the patch right now, so that's one of the things we learned about UUCCN. We all do a lot of different things. You guys heard about the people right now? I'm proud to make you go to the pumpkins on the first day. Welcome everyone at UUCCN.
Blessings for today. And I want to share this. Which is infinite, which is yes. This is the sun's birthday. This is the birth of the day of life and of love and wings, and of the gay great happening in the living earth. How she tastes, touching, hearing, seeing, breathing, eating, lifted from the none of all and nothing, human, merely being, doubt, unimaginable.
It's a big notice to the memory of the parents, the late years. So stand for this, you stand if you want to stand. It's your choice. You don't need handles, it's not your choice. Now I'm going to start you off on sometimes people get lost. So here's what you do, you get lost, I want to be this. Now, you hear that space, after the first one, after the second one. Clap, 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 The saints will walk in, that's right. The saints will march in. Oh, when the saints will march in. Lord, I want to be in that number when the saints go marching in. When the sun begins to shine, when the sun begins to shine, oh, when the sun begins to shine, Lord, I want to be in that number when the sun begins to shine, when the leaves begin to turn, when the leaves begin to turn, oh, when the leaves begin to turn, Lord, I want to be in that number when the leaves begin to turn, when the winds begin to blow, when the winds begin to blow, oh, when the leaves begin to blow, Lord, I want to be in that number when the leaves begin to blow. Saints, oh, when the saints go marching in, when the saints go marching in, I want to be in that number when the saints go marching in.
And I know it's not in your order of service, but we must have our land acknowledgement. Because we must always remember, we are merely visitors on this place. This is the ancestral lands of the Merrick. We were put upon Turtle Island to be caretakers, to gather in a good way, to be with Earth's children in all of their forms, those of the land, the water, and air. Let this land acknowledgement be the beginning of our return to unity. Let us be guardians of the waters, the air, and the earth, the four-legged, the flyers, the swimmers, the crawlers, the mammal people, the rock people, and the green. Let us be the guardians of harmony and kindness. And now we will have a time for all ages, and so there is a video with the fall of Freddie Belief. Okay.
There's definitely nothing to
Manifesting.
Yeah.
Hi, Julian. Oh my God, thank you for carrying.
Wrong video.
The nice one.
It's called The Fall of Freddie the Leaf. It's sort of a story about death, which is something that's hard for people to talk about. So I hope when we share the story together, it'll help you understand something that might seem scary. Spring had passed, so had summer. Freddie the Leaf had grown large.
Wrong video.
Spring had passed, so had summer. Freddie the Leaf had grown large. His midsection was wide and strong, and his 5 extensions were firm and pointed. He had first appeared in spring as a small sprout on a rather large branch near the top of a tall tree. Freddie was surrounded by hundreds of other leaves, just like himself, or so it seemed. Soon he discovered that no 2 leaves were alike, even though they were on the same tree. Alfred was the leaf next to him. Ben was the leaf on his right side, and Claire was the lovely leaf overhead. They had all grown up together. They had learned to dance in the spring breezes, bask lazily in the summer sun, and wash off in the cooling rains. But it was Daniel who was Freddie's best friend. He was the largest leaf on the limb and seemed to have been there before anyone else. It appeared to Freddie that Daniel was also the wisest among them. It was Daniel who told them that they were part of a tree. It was Daniel who told them that they were, who explained that they were growing in a public park. And it was Daniel who told them that the tree was strong roots which were hidden in the ground below. He explained about the birds who came to sit on their branch and sing morning songs. He explained about the sun, the moon, the stars, and the seasons. Freddie loved being a leaf. He loved his branch, his light, leafy friends, his place high in the sky, the wind that jostled him about, the sun rays that warmed him, the moon that covered him with soft, white shadows. Summer had been especially nice. The long, hot days felt good, and the warm nights were peaceful and dreamy. There were many people in the park that summer. They often came and sat under Freddie's tree. Daniel told him that giving shade was part of his purpose. What's a purpose? Freddie had asked. A reason for being, Daniel had answered. things more pleasant for others is a reason for being. To make shade for old people who come to escape the heat in their homes is a reason for being. To provide a cool place for children to come and play. To fan with our leaves the picnickers who come to eat on checkered tablecloths. These are all reasons for being. Freddie especially liked the old people. Oh, this is good. They sat quietly on the cool grass and hardly ever moved. I don't know that that's good, but anyway. They talked in whispers of times past, and that's true. The children were fun too, even though they sometimes tore holes in the bark of the tree or carved their names into it. Still, it was fun to watch them move so fast and to laugh so much. But Freddie's summer soon passed. It vanished on an October night. He had never felt it so cold. All the leaves shivered in the cold. They were coated with a thin layer of white, which quickly melted and left them dew-drenched and sparkling in the morning sun. Again, it was Daniel who explained that they had experienced their first frost, a sign that it was fall, that winter would soon come. Almost at once, the whole tree, in fact, the whole park was transformed into a blaze of color. There was hardly a green leaf left. Alfred had turned a deep yellow. Ben had become a bright orange. Claire had become a blazing red. Daniel a deep purple, and Freddie was red and gold and blue. How beautiful they all looked. Freddie and his friends had made their tree a rainbow. Why did we turn different colors? Freddie asked. When we're all on the same tree? Each of us is different. We have different experiences. We have faced the sun differently. We have cast shade differently. Why should we not have different colors? Daniel said matter-of-factly. Daniel told Freddie that this wonderful season was called fall. One day, a very strange thing happened. The same breezes that in the past had made them dance began to push and pull at their stems, almost as if they were angry. This caused some of the leaves to be torn from their branches and swept up in the wind and tossed about and dropped softly to the ground. All the leaves became frightened. What's happening? They asked each other in whispers. It's what happens in fall, Daniel told them. It's the time for leaves to change their home. Some people call it to die. Will we all die? Freddie asked. Yes, Daniel answered. Everything dies, no matter how big or small, how weak or strong. We first do our job. We experience the sun and the moon, the wind and the rain. We learn to dance and to laugh. And then we die. I won't die, said Freddie with determination. Will you, Daniel? Yes, answered Daniel, when it's my time. When is that? Asked Freddie. No one knows for sure, Daniel responded. Freddie noticed that the other leaves continued to fall. He thought, it must be their time. He saw that some of the leaves lashed back at the wind before they fell. Others simply let go and dropped quietly. Soon the tree was almost bare. I'm afraid to die, Freddie told Daniel. I don't know what's down there. We all fear what we don't know, Freddie. It's natural, Daniel reassured him. Yet, you were not afraid when spring became summer. You were not afraid when summer became fall. They were natural changes. Why should you be afraid of the season of death? Does the tree die too? Freddie asked. Someday, but there is something stronger than the tree. It is life that lasts forever, and we're all a part of it. Life. Where will we go when we die? No one knows for sure. That's the great mystery. Will we return in the spring? We may not, but life will. Then what has been the reason for all of this? Freddie continued to question. Why were we here at all if we only have to fall and die? Daniel answered in his matter-of-fact way. It's been about the sun. It's been about the moon. It's been about happy times together. It's been about the shade and the old people and the children. It's been about colors and fall. It's been about seasons. Isn't that enough? That afternoon in the golden light of dusk, Daniel let go. He felt effortlessly. He seemed to smile peacefully as he fell. Goodbye for now, Freddie, he said. Then Freddie was alone, the only leaf left on his branch. The first snow fell in the following morning. It was soft, white, and gentle, but it was bitter cold. There was hardly any sun that day, and the day was very short. Freddie found himself losing his color, becoming brittle. It was constantly cold, and the snow weighed heavily upon him. At dawn, the wind came that took Freddie from his branch. It didn't hurt at all. He felt himself float quietly, gently, and softly downward. As he fell, he saw the whole tree for the first time. How strong and firm it was. He was sure it would live for a long time, and he knew that he had been part of its life, and that made him proud. Freddie landed on a clump of snow. It somehow felt soft and even warm. In this new position, he was more comfortable than he had ever been. He closed his eyes and fell asleep. He did not know that spring would follow winter and that the snow would melt into water. He did not know that what appeared to be his useless dried self would join with the water and serve to make the tree stronger. Most of all, he did not know that there, asleep in the tree and the ground, were already plans for new leaves in the spring. And that is our story. The fall of Freddie the Leaf. Really the whole cycle of life. And it's natural, and it's good, and it happens to all of us. And today, we're going to get to honor those who have died, because in so many ways, their lives still live with us. And now our children will go to class. And now we will have brief joys and concerns, because later you're going to get to share stories about your beloveds whose lives, so it won't be right now. It'll be about joys and concerns, other concerns that we may have. So yes, Anita. Oh, could you use the mic, because people can't hear, and then they, if you're watching online, they it gets a little.
This morning, Michael Santanilla gave me a lot of joy. He told me he wanted to do another concert. And so we are delighted, absolutely delighted that he would like to do that. We're going to look at our calendar and we're going to give you an April date per your request. And we'll let you know right away when that is. And we'll start advertising and we're thrilled. Thank you very, very, very much.
International Rescue Committee, that's what it's for.
Another very good cause. Right. Another bit of joy is that we're at the end of our pumpkin patch season. So we can put that behind us soon, get it all cleaned up. We can all use a little bit of help this afternoon. And Justin, maybe I'll help you with some pallets again?
All right.
Thank you. Okay.
Yes. Does someone else have any joy or concern to share?
Yeah, I got it.
So, this morning I'm having a little breakfast and trying to find the weather report on TV, going around on TV, and there's some mega church service going on. Now, I'm not going to say anything bad about anybody, but you know, I've spent a lot of time in show business, and I'm watching this and I'm seeing it's slick and well rehearsed and technically perfect, and with that perfection, I know comes a certain amount of fragility. You know, that if any one thing went wrong, it's possible that everything crumbles, you know. And I come here. And we're not slick, and we're not well rehearsed, and we are organic, and we are as messy as anything organic could be, and it works. And it all works very well.
Both the joy and the concern. I'm just grateful for the technical help, however I get it. And yeah, so Marianne?
So we welcomed a Halloween monster, our third great-grandchild this year. So he hasn't come home from the hospital. His mother has a high blood pressure situation, but maybe this afternoon we will get to welcome him, and we're very excited because this is the only one close to home. You know, they're up just on the North Shore here. So he will be especially honored by the fact that we can see him and so on. And it's very, very exciting and thrilling. And of course, as the patch ends, think of Patsy, right? Yes. Thank you, Patsy.
I should say it was my dad's 77th birthday on Friday. He's also a Halloween baby, so just glad to get to spend some time with him.
Great. Happy birthday, Dad. Absolutely. Great.
Yes, I celebrated my great-grandson's birthday yesterday, 5 years old, and it was lovely at their home, and they had all kinds of games and places, and a beautiful house to get into, and all kinds of jumping jacks and things inside, you know. And it was delightful, but it was wonderful to see all these young people so happy and so close. The cousins just love one another. They hug and kiss each other all the time. It's just so beautiful. And I'm hoping this will continue throughout the world as they get older, not only with their families, but with others, you know? Yeah.
Share the love, share the joy, absolutely. That's great. Yes. For anyone who may not be feeling well, we offer prayers and thoughts their way, because 'tis the season, you know, there are things out there and nobody wants to catch anything. Be certain to keep up with your vaccinations for as long as you can have them. anything else you may need. And yeah, please take care of yourselves. Very important. For all those things that we may be holding in our hearts, we know that they are shared here emotionally because we care for each other in this community. Amen. And now for our peace candle lighting. Peace is not the absence of strife, but actively seeking resolutions and support to those in need. Peace has a chance to live among us when we tell the truth and stand up for it. Peace is an act of bravery in the face of division. Let there be truth-telling
So we're doing just at cost now, so it's $7.50 for each picture. You get a whole big thing of, was it beets, peaches, and then like a mixed veggie one. So if you haven't tried it yet, they're great.
So we do offering and Thanksgiving together. First we give thanks, then we ask you for money. So I want to thank everyone for their support of UUCCN, just being there this morning, your financial donations, giving your time, giving of your hearts, giving of your creativity and your thoughts. We are 100% dependent on our members, friends, and guests. Please give today when the ushers pass the collection plate in a minute, or you can use a credit card on our website, uuccn.org. One of our traditions at UUCCN is to share our collection plate with another organization whose work aligns with our values and principles. And for the month of November, we are sharing our plate with the Ramapo Nabe Community Center that I believe Reverend Petra works with them. Can you tell us a little bit about this project?
Ramapo Muncie people are in New Jersey, New York, and the community center itself is in Mahwah, New Jersey. The community center is in and the work that happens there is teaching history, teaching culture. There are clan meetings there. There are women's circles there. There's a circle there for learning how to make ribbon dresses. All of the things that are cultural in order for people to regain a sense of so much that has been lost. And it is a wonderful opportunity for the Ramapo community to come together. So we certainly appreciate that this community is supporting the Ramapo Muncie Lenape Community Center. I am community minister there, and so meeting with people, working with people, talking about history, and all of those things take shape there. So if you have any further questions, I can talk to you about that later, but so appreciate the support of the Ramapo Community Center.
Thank you again for all you do to support our congregation. We're grateful and blessed by the generosity of our community. Please give today as the ushers pass the collection plate. If you're giving by check, please share the plate on the memo line. And if you have suggestions for future organizations for the share the plate candidates, please speak with a member of the board.
And in this blue teal hymnal is the next song that we're going to sing, which is entitled We Are 1051. 1051.
Right. Now, I'm just at the end of the second line, at the end of the last line, that 1 and 2. All that means is that you sing those 2 lines twice. Okay, so that's all we're going to do. I'll just vamp a little bit while you find it. 1051. Each child is born. Rises and sings who we are. Each child is born, the morning star rises and sings who we are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreams. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are brothers of courage and fathers of time. We are daughters of dust and sons of great visions. Of mercy and brothers of love. We are lovers of life and builders of nations and seekers of truth and givers of faith. We are makers of peace and wisdom and praise. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreams. We are the breath of our ancestors. We
so now I will share with you wisdom from Native American elders for today. As we go through life, we find ourselves on track one day and off track the next day. We gain consistency through prayer. For some of us, we would say meditation. Prayer is our connection to the Great Spirit. Prayer is our channel for knowledge and wisdom. Prayer is how we keep our sanity. The elders say we should walk in prayer. I'm reminded that in speaking to a Ramapo elder, he had said, we don't pray enough. For all of the things that are happening today that cause us concern, that threaten people, that hurt people, that are confusing, that may be alienating. Along with our good work in addressing justice issues, there also needs to be prayer for higher intervention, for us to be united, for us to feel community, for us to be empowered, for us to realize we are not alone, for us to realize that good things can happen and we will work towards them. We are seeking balance in our lives. We may be particularly off balance at this time. But it is up to us to work to recreate balance for ourselves, for others, for the healing of ourselves, for the healing of community. Let us remember that walking in prayer can be helpful as we grapple with so many things that challenge us. Let us have a moment of silence for those things that are heavy that we may be holding in our hearts. Amen. So, when the saints go marching, yes, we began with that song. And fall is such a mixed bag of emotions. It's the bountiful harvest like we had with our pumpkin patch, the beauty of nature in a kaleidoscope of colors that mesmerizes us and lifts our spirits. It's glorious, and yet, as in the story of the fall of Freddie Belief, we know that it symbolizes the dying of life and the end of the growing season. It's wondrous as you watch the raining of light that draws down into darkness. And wasn't it something to see how early the light came in this morning? Because we won't have it at the end of the day. It is natural, and yet we resist it. I honestly wanted more summer, and I cannot think of a time when I did not feel that way. To me, it is far too short. I love fall once it gets going. I know that the change is inevitable, but still. I feel myself clinging to the life of summer and being wary of the passing away into death. Perhaps it's my own way of mourning. though in no way is the change of seasons and the loss of the warmer months anything like the loss of a person's life. That is on another level. For those I know and those I have only heard about, it is a loss that requires acknowledging and acceptance. And I am not always good at the accepting part, but my faith is a work in progress. I know that I hold dear those who have passed on as I revisit my thoughts and experiences of them. Frankly, it is the missing them that hurts the most. I miss them, just like you do. And heaven forbid anyone would suggest that you get over it. Sometimes we struggle with other people's grieving because it's hard to listen. They don't get over it because they don't. And the truth be told, they don't have to. You hold on to these memories of your beloved out of love, out of wanting connection. Grief is a sign of love. And there's this little book called Grief is Love that I read, and I concur with the author, that we as a society, we don't provide enough support for the transition that is necessary, and so much more than the changing of the seasons. And we all experience it differently because we are all operating from our own perspectives. In the world of grieving, no one can tell you how to feel. Your own feelings, you own your own feelings, and you experience them. For me, I know it can be intense. It's a struggle, and it can last a long time. I do believe that it gets better as I companion with the spirit of my loved one, and I come to accept it. That acceptance brings solace. It's not easy, and I can't tell you how long it's going to last. But I believe in my heart that it does get better. Peace does come to you when you are ready to receive it. And we're taking the time today for this special service to honor our beloveds as a community, those who have passed on. We're here to celebrate them, to call their names out loud, and to talk a little bit about them. What did they do to make you smile? What had they done in their lives that contributed to? And what were they passionate about? How did they make you feel? How did they make a difference? These saints came marching into our lives, and we are blessed because of them. Let them be honored. Let us speak their names and light a candle in remembrance of them as we lift them up in memory for the good of our community. I will begin by sharing some memories of my brother, Walter. He was very charismatic. Whenever we had Thanksgiving dinner, he would always arrive a little late and begin telling us about his adventures in radio and the music industry. He had gone into broadcasting school and landed work on several radio stations across the country. When KISS FM began back in the 80s, Walter, aka Sonny Taylor, that was his name, was the program manager. He later went to Arista Records and then Columbia Records. He had a beautiful voice and a great comedic timing. He was a bit of a perfectionist and enjoyed conducting the choir at Our Lady of Victory Church in Brooklyn. He had them enter the Oratorio Society, and they won first place. Walter taught us the latest dances and played songs that became hits. You may see him down front. Here's a picture of him with Patti LaBelle and the Bluebells. when they were just beginning their careers. When it was time for me to be born and my father was working the night shift as a conductor for the transit authority, he was the one who took my mother to the hospital. He was 16 at the time and was very proud of this. He also gave me away at our wedding. He claimed to be a confirmed bachelor. I think at the time that was code for being in the closet, with no way out. I'm most proud of him for not caving to the pressure to marry. I think he was exceptionally brave. Before he passed away, I told him he had the right to be who he was. I hope that brought him some peace. Well, I know I needed to say it to him. So march on, Walter. March on, Saint. You brought so much joy to so many, and I'm grateful to have had you in my life. And now I would like you to share your memories of those who in your family or your friends or your connections, whoever it is who you chose to think about and share with us today. This is your time to share their memory. Would you?
I brought with me a picture of me. I always feel like crying. In a baby carriage with two doting parents smiling down on me with such love. I was so lucky to be born to loving parents. And throughout all their lives, they did nothing but show love to me. I was just so privileged to have their love. And, oh thanks. And my dad is the most perfect man who ever walked the face of this earth. He had one fault, he was a little too perfect. But, I mean, we had to not eat meat on Friday and obey all those silly rules, but he was there for me at every stage of my life. When I was little, he would come and tell bedtime stories to my sister Betty and me, and I'd hear about when he was growing up in College Point, the son of a German immigrant, and what life was like, and how he delivered groceries on a horse, Patsy. And then we got a little older, we lived in Queens, went to a neighborhood park, and went on the lake. He rode a boat on the lake, but it was frozen, he tried to skate. And he would tell stories. He said, years ago, on this land, the Indians were tried. The Indians would stepping through all his stories, all his life. He was by my side, backing me up till the end of his life. For his house. Of course, he educated me. Not every woman of my generation got to go to college, but they did. And then there was my mother, who would call me every day, my joy, my happiness. Now, I'm almost embarrassed to tell people that. How many people could say their mother said, oh, my joy, my happiness? But
Not too many.
Yeah, she was of a generation where women could not work outside the home for pay. They could do lots of work as volunteer without pay. But she wanted for her daughters to have a profession. She wanted so much for me to be a physician. And I had the opportunity before she died to tell her, I'm sorry, I couldn't do that. And she said, I only want one special. But she, as a volunteer, could do so. She was so brilliant. Shall I tell you about the time that she won the Connecticut State Champion award for the best flower arranger? No, I want to tell you about the time. My parents had downsized from the house to an apartment in the city, and she was looking for something to do, walked down the corner, and there was a sign at a Republican club, volunteers wanted. I don't think she even was a Republican, but she was social and she wanted to do something. So she went in their office and they gave her a job making coffee. So she is looking at the brochures, and at that time, way before you were born, Robert A. Taft was running against Eisenhower for the Republican nomination, and he stood on the platform of repudiating the Yalta Agreement. At Yalta, she kept coming on, look at this Taft is going to repudiate the Yalta Agreement. Yeah. And at Yalta, Roosevelt gave Russia the control of Hungary. Now, my grandmother could no longer talk to her cousins in Hungary. It was so totalitarian. If they received a letter from the United States, they would be interrogated. It was a disaster for the communists to take over Hungary. So Mom says, oh, I gotta do something about them. So she walked around the corner to St. Stephen's Church, a Hungarian church, and got the priests involved, and you can repudiate the Yalta Agreement. They got the other. One thing led to another, and she ran a press conference for foreign language press, the Hungarian American press, Polish American press, Czech American press. This is a woman who goes down the corner and starts making coffee, and she has these press conferences going. So to reward her, Taft didn't get the nomination, but the people in control of the Republican Party, to reward her, sent her and my father down to Washington to meet Robert A. Taft and have lunch with him to thank her for her work in getting the foreign language press to endorse Taft. This is the woman who walks to the corner and makes coffee. She was so good. I was in awe of her, and I go by her words. You know, if you have a problem, solve it. Have somebody else help you solve it, and adapt and survive. Adapt and survive. So thank you for letting me share.
Oh, that's
my
such a beautiful
She
was a powerhouse, as is her daughter. Yeah, awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing, Terry. Okay, so yes, Anita, the mic is right there. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Take the mic.
Well, first of all, I don't have the gift of gab. I admire that so much, to be able to recall all those details in such a fine manner that you can
Don't
tell a
ask me what I
story.
did 5 minutes ago. That's all right.
So it's like, I just have all these thoughts in my head. My late husband, Tony, we were married 40 years. And he was a great guy, great father, loved to fish, was a master handyman. He could fix anything. He can do anything. There wasn't something that he wouldn't attempt. He would read a book about it and just do it. So I always felt very well taken care of by him. He was a great family man, and I miss him. 40 years is a long time to be married. I was very young, 19 when we got married. So the odds were against us making it, but we made it. That's about it.
Wow. I have the microphone. A picture of Juliet and myself up here. Juliet was my wife till 2010. When she passed. She passed from cancer, and it was a 10-year battling with cancer, and I took care of her the last year at home, and she died at home. But we have three wonderful children, and now 9 grandchildren that we celebrate. And Juliet was a member of this congregation for many years, and also in the Hollis Unitarian Church. I met her when I started college, and she came to this country when she was 2 years old. She came from a displaced persons camp from Stuttgart, Germany. Her parents met in this DP camp and were married there, and they immigrated to the United States. It was, I think about it now more than anything other times, because that immigration from another country to another world that we have in this country was quite, I think it was really a challenge for a lot of people. And I realized that by knowing that she's an immigrant, and how we're treating our immigrants now is pathetic. It's pathetic how we do not honor their inherent worth and dignity. And I never thought about my wife as being an immigrant, because she was always a part of America. You know, but she was American. She was an immigrant from Stuttgart, Germany, and I think, you know, I mean, she was a wonderful mother. She was very innovative as far as child birthing. She wanted to have her children, no interventions. We had Lama's method, and then finally we had our last child at home. And I was the doctor who delivered the last child. It's on the birth certificate. But anyway, you know, she was a wonderful person. She was a wonderful Unitarian Universalist who came from a Catholic background, and her parents are still very Catholic. But she believed in what we believe here at in the Unitarian Universalist Association, and she went to a number of things that were really a lot of wonderful programs that we've had in this congregation. And then I met Anita, because I've known her since I'm 9 years old.
I haven't passed yet. You don't have to talk about me.
I mean, who could follow that? I mean, that's very funny and wonderful. I have wonderful memories. Oh my goodness, I go all the way back to my childhood. When I grew up, there was always music around me. I had wonderful friends. One who was like my sister, who has passed away. I think of her often. But my most wonderful memories were with my grandparents at their home every weekend. And it was music, and there was wine. And then, of course, we didn't know it was wine, because my grandfather constantly sang. And this is my grandfather over here, Dominic Malillo. Here he is. We called him Unon in Italian. And Unon was always the one who would make us laugh. And when we would go up to him and we would say, "Hello, Unon," and he would go, "Oh," and we didn't know what it was. And we go, "Oh." And then, of course, he would take out his little change purse and he'd give us all a dime, and that was, to us, the greatest thing in the world. But the most important thing was when he sang. And when he sang, he filled the room. His voice was so huge and big, and he would sing these Italian love songs to my grandmother, Neapolitan love songs. And when there was a word or something in it, he would put her name into it, a Carmela, this Carmela, that, and then he would look at her with such love in his eyes. And we were little children. We were like just sitting there and just astounded by him. My aunt would sing. My brothers, all were very talented. My oldest brother, I think, should have been the one who was on television and went
in my direction. He could imitate anyone. Al Jolson and he was Al Jolson. He was Eddie Cantor, he was everyone. But we were all 5 in our family, and we would sit down in the living room and listen to Manon and listen to my aunt, and then we all had to do something. So, my brother Donnie got up and sang, of course, and then Dolly, they called me Dolly, I would get up and sing. And then my brother Jim would play the clarinet, and my sister Marie played the accordion, and my sister Aurora sang. Now, my cousins were also there, and one of them could not sing, and he said he was going to announce that he was going to do the alphabet backwards. And so he did the alphabet backwards, and that was a big thing. We were like, whoa, he's brilliant, he's so good. But those were the happy memories I will never forget in my life, and this is what we have today. Isn't it wonderful that we have these memories? So see, death is never dead. Death is never dead. And also, my late husband, I have to say, we were married for 56 years when he passed. And he was brilliant, funny as heck man, great sense of humor. Everyone loved him. He would walk into a room and people would go, whoa. Extremely handsome. But aside from all that, he was very giving and very loving. And so from that, we have 3 beautiful girls. So I've been very blessed. And when I think around and look around and I say, oh my gosh, I'm upset about this or upset about that, I'm not. I've been blessed, truly blessed, and I think we all should be very lucky that we live in this great country.
Beautiful, thank you.
Does someone else have a remembrance? Yes, Elizabeth, do you want to come on up? Me if I cry. It's my brother. Holding my son the day after my son was born. The kids are talking about this today because Benjamin came in, I was up there, and wanted to know what year his uncle was born. They were very close. When he came with me, and you knew that he was very political, he ran for county legislature. And we often canvassed together, knocked doors, talked to people. And last year after he died, I went out a couple times for an assembly race for ballot proposition. But this year I've been out once or twice a week since March on a mayoral campaign. And I think of him every time. I think of our jokes. I argue with him in my head. We play a game where if someone's not home, you're supposed to fold up the flyer and leave it in the door because you can't put it in the mailbox. So we'd always have to fold it perfectly so that when someone comes home, you see the candidate's smiling face at them. And every time I do that, I was like, see, I did another one yesterday, so. I miss him a lot. And get your colonoscopy. Thank you, Elizabeth.
I miss my brother-in-law Colin, who taught me how to drive. He was like 10 years older than me, and it was really a positive force in my life when I was in middle school and high school. And he died too young. His son is about to become, one of his sons is about to become a father. And I already know, like, I see my brother-in-law in my nephew every time I see him, and I know that the joy is going to continue. Thought about Patsy Kaplan a lot in the last month and a half.
Was it 1 year yesterday?
Yeah, so she died 1 year yesterday. So we traditionally October 31st is the close of the pumpkin patch, and then it's like the cleanup. But it's like, she started the pumpkin patch here, she built it, and the first year was a very humble affair, and she was always the one going, oh, we should get more. We should do it the whole month, you know, we should get more pumpkins. And I used to roll my eyes at a lot of things that she said, and now I find myself saying the things that she said, you know. I said to Susanna, who's been so wonderful this year, like all those years helping, I said to her, now I say to myself, what would Patsy do when I'm confronted of something at the pumpkin patch? So we all miss Patsy, and what a way to go that she went after the pumpkin patch closed. Yeah.
Yes.
So what I want to say is two very different things. First is just a short lift up to the Congregation of the Infant Jesus. It's an order of Catholic nuns who founded Mercy Hospital, among other things. And so their legacy lives on in their works. Sister Mary Kiernan was 101 years old and passed away the other day. I'm good friends with Sister Dolores, who I've gotten to be friends with because I was friends with Sister Mary Alice, who over 10 years we had a very close relationship. We used to meet for dinner and stuff, and she was a real, like, she spoke truth to power at every corner. So I miss them, and there were only 13 of these sisters left, so there's not a lot more. I also want to talk about my mother. My mother was raised by a single mother. My grandfather died when my mother was like 2. And they were Irish immigrants. And my mother and my grandmother worked as a cleaning lady housekeeper in a Catholic rectory. So my mother got to do some things like go to private school because that was like one of the perks of my grandmother's job. But my mother very much saw herself as an immigrant. She was born here, but her mindset was that she was like a lower class kind of person, but she worked hard. She married my father. He was a school teacher, and to her, like, he walked on water. It was a real, and that translated into being a very strict mother with us, because we always had to behave because we were the daughters of a teacher, and what would people think of my father if we behaved like kids? So, and had red hair, and 2 sisters were red, so it was the red-headed Davis kids. We also had no anonymity going home. But my mother worked very hard at raising her kids. I was 15 when she passed away from breast cancer. But her strictness showed in lots of ways. And we do things that are sometimes silly and sometimes feel very awkward, but when time goes by, you can find out how funny they are. I don't know how many of you remember Soupy Sales, but he had a TV show and he used to tell jokes and all kinds of. And he was coming, we lived in Farmingdale, he was coming to Farmingdale High School to do like an in-person appearance. And we were allowed to go, but we were the daughters of a teacher, so we had to dress appropriately. So there was me and my sisters in our lavender pink and off-white Easter suits in a gymnasium full of other kids in jeans. And I was mortified. But that was fun. Yes. But she worked very hard, and I've been thinking about her recently because she was part of, my father was a Korean War veteran and World War II veteran, and so she was part of a whole migration to Long Island, and my parents, first we moved to Levittown as part of that, and then 2 years later my parents bought a brand new house. So when I was like 5 years old, we would go every weekend to watch the house being built. And to my mother, that was like an amazing experience because from where she came from, I did buying a house, and she took a lot of care in picking out wallpaper and things. She made living room drapes that went to the ceiling with pinch pleats, and she was very talented, but she also had to deal with all the kids all over the place. And my father was like a big kid, so she had him. And it was a year and a half when 3 of my cousins lived with us, but she was devoted to her family. Thank you.
Yeah. Let's sing this, 10:30, 103.
Actually, I just have one more remembrance. And, you know, I made a point of finding her picture this morning for Reverend Dr. Hope Johnson. And she was a mentor to me and really to so many people. I know that she was the minister here for, what, 15 years? And this, you know, we have Hope's Doors in honor of Reverend Dr. Hope Johnson. Gentle and yet strong, mindful and effective. You know, the things that she thought of and the way in which she moved, she made a lot of difference to people. Wisdom. She carried a lot of wisdom. And, you know, it's important to lift her up at this time. We had planned to light candles. I didn't light any candles, but be that as it may. Yes.
I just want to say one quick thing. When Dave was talking about his wife, Juliet, I remember Hope saying that Juliet taught us how to die. Wow.
Gracious.
Well, I'm lucky in that I had parents that loved each other, and I never saw an argument or anything that would make me realize that marriages are always that way. And when mine wasn't, I was so surprised. But my parents were great. My father had a wonderful sense of humor, not always appropriate, but funny. And my mother was the church organist, so I never missed a Sunday of going to Sunday school. And I was in the Baptist church. You are baptized when you are coming of age. You aren't sprinkled. You go into where there's actual water. The minister's there. You walk down the steps to get in the water, and then he dunks you. And what I didn't realize is when your head goes down, your skirt goes up. So my religious experience has been a terrible embarrassment. But I was lucky in that my parents were so loving, and I didn't imagine I'd ever be divorced. But I found life isn't always what you hope for. But it was, and going to church every Sunday was something I was used to, and I feel so grateful that I found that Unitarian Universalist. I know that this bothered my mom, but she never was critical and always supportive. And I feel I was the luckiest person to grow up in a family where I never saw an argument.
I will just say that when I became a Unitarian Universalist, my mother was supportive, which was a blessing, because, you know, I had been Catholic. I used to bring her communion at one point, and realized that, you know, I needed to make a change for myself, and her support was welcomed and appreciated. It was definitely that. So it's a nice thing when your parents say something validating, you know, about you. It's like, okay, really grateful for that. It's a good message. So thank you all for sharing. That's what community does. We come together, we share our stories, we enrich each other. It matters. It's a blessing. Thank you again. And now we have song number 1030. We are marching.
We are marching in the light of God. We are marching in the light of God. We're marching in the light of God. We are marching in the light of God. We are marching, we are marching, we are marching in the light of God. We are marching, we are marching, we are marching in the light of God. We are singing, we are singing in the light of God. 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 We are singing, we are singing, we are singing, we are singing, singing in the light of God, light of God. We are singing, we are singing, singing, we are singing, singing in the light of God. We are gathered, we are gathered in the light of God. 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 We are together, we're together, gathered in the light of God. We are gathered on the sea, we got all of the sea, gathered in the light of God.
And I try not to give you two books at the same service, but today's a special day. So if you could turn to number 721 in the gray hymnal, we will have this responsive reading, They Are Still With Us. 721, all the way in the back, 721. In the struggles we choose for ourselves, in the ways we move forward in our lives, and bring our world forward with us. It is right to remember the names of those who gave us strength in this choice of living. It is right to name the power of hard lives well lived. We share a history with those lives. We belong to the same motion. They too were strengthened by what had gone before. They too were drawn on by the vision of what might come to be. Those who lived before us, who struggled for justice and suffered injustice before us, have not melted into dust and have not disappeared. They are still with us. The lives they lived hold us steady. Their words remind us and call us back to ourselves. Their courage and love evoke our own. We, the living, carry them with us. We are their voices, their hands, and their hearts. We take them with us, and with them choose the deeper path of living. And we have named them. Amen. And now, we will extinguish the fire from our chalice, but the flame, the light of love and community continues to shine on in our hearts. Carry that light forward with you and share it with those you meet. Remember, take time to reflect and care for your spirit. Care for your bodies. Walk in grace and peace until we are together again. Amen. Aho. Blessed be.
So I'm going to hold you just a little bit longer. Sorry. Not sorry. So because I'm a geek and I've read so much, I use a slightly different lexicon than most people do. And while there are so many people who I am fond of and whose company I really enjoy and who I admire, the word friend has a very special special and specific meaning for me. There's, like I say, so many people I'm fond of, but very few friends. It's a high bar for me personally. And Hope was my friend. And some of my favorite memories, my most delicious memories, are conversations we would have when I would drive her home to Brooklyn sometimes. So I'm going to sing the song that my friend said was her favorite song. Some say that love is a raging river, a river that will drown a tender reed. And some say that love is a rusty razor that will cut your heart and leave it there to bleed. Some say that love is a burning hunger. They swear that it's an endless aching need. But I say that love is a flower, and you are its only seed. Now it's the heart afraid of breaking, that never ever takes a chance. And it's a dream that's scared of waking. Ever since the dance, it's the water will not be taken, cannot seem to give. And it's a soul afraid of dying, that never gives itself a chance to live. And so when the night has been too lonely, the road has been too long, and you are sure that love is only for the very lucky or the naturally strong. Please remember that in the winter, far beneath the snows, there lies